of it. So I developed an evaluation criteria for coaches that when something good happens on the ice, and it might be one of your success factors, Saul, if somebody backchecks extremely well, gets a stick in the lane and breaks up a play, blocks a shot, I look for that player to come to the bench and be acknowledged by the coach, one of the coaches. And if they do that, they comment on what they're doing well, they're going to pump their tires.
For sure.
And that becomes a pretty simple way of coaching. Just notice the good things because they do so many more good things and generalize about the things we have to do better.
Yeah. Find things to praise. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I find that's something I've tried to get coaches to record themselves and break down their feedback. Positive specific, which means, good stick, eyes up, scanning, whatever you're doing well, good evasive tight turn. Positive generals, good work, great effort, superb. And then constructive is what you need to do better. We've got to come back hard. We've got to come back harder and protect the middle of the ice, that kind of thing. And you have to make those points at the timely, right? And the negative are tone of voice. And like you said, Saul, the eyes. They can read your anger. They can read your disbelief. And you're dragging them down. So it's not that complex. I have 4 words. If they feel good, they're going to play well.
Play better. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I've noticed over the years that I think coaches make a mistake is, and I had a coach working with me for a couple of years, that they're trying to play the game from the bench. And they're a lot of times they're in front of the players. Oh, well, that's getting hard because the players are now all standing up. And the coaches now are standing on the benches.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of verbal, commentary about, this, what's in the moment on the ice. Personally, I don't let my players stand up while during the game. They have to sit on the bench. They might be the next line up. That's fine. You guys get ready to go. They have to sit down. Coaches have to be behind the bench so we can talk to players in a reasonable voice. And always looking for that great back check, that great play that so you can make that kind of a comment, not only to the players on the bench, but to the player when they come off the ice. And, we've had this conversation about the players standing and they have more energy and all other stuff. Well, you don't see them standing in the National Hockey League. You don't see them standing in some Division I hockey, they do. But, if you've got a full 20 kids or players on your roster and everybody's standing up and you're changing on the fly, where do you get off?
Mhm.
I mean, people have to start moving to give space for you to come over the boards. And oh, by the way, what happens sometimes? You get too many men on the ice and that kind of stuff. So,
It gets chaotic, I think, as you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
One thing that I think is very helpful for coaches is just this comment, that's who we are, and hey, that's not who we are.
yeah,
So I remember I was working with the Canadian women's soccer team, and we were, fourth in the world at the time, and we were playing Germany, and they beat us 4-1. and Germany had a really good team. And after the game, the coach came in and said to the women, I told you what to do and you didn't do it. Like, I'm right and you're wrong. And I was really disappointed. And a much better approach, I mean, we lost the game, they were a better team, but a much better approach would have been to come in and say, hey, guys, that's not who we are. We have to be more aggressive about doing this, more aggressive about doing that. And
Yeah.
that you have to give them, as you're saying, Wally, the constructive information. But it's like when they're doing anything right, hey, somebody's knocking somebody off the puck, somebody's back checking, somebody's blocking shots. That's who we are. If you're showing video, that's who we are. That's who we are. That's who we are. And then occasionally, no, that's not who we are. We're aggressive in that situation. And that's a great way to give them that constructive information, rather than saying, you're wrong. What were you doing? I was on the sidelines in the NFL, and a safety didn't cover his receiver, and the guy caught the pass and made a big gain. Safety comes off, the coach yells at him, what the fuck did you do that for? That's the last thing he wanted to know. He wanted to say, when they come out 2 guys wide, you got the wide guy. That's your guy. You know that. That's your guy. But, we get emotional sometimes as coaches. They can't play, so they get emotional. And